Two brand new spin-offs have been confirmed for the Walking Dead universe during New York Comic Con by Scott Gimple. And now in today's video, I'm just going to be discussing about these two new spin-offs, what they could be, and what characters could be in these spin-offs. So please stay tuned. And now, before we actually get into the video, I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to apologize for the very long break I had. It's been about 12 days since I uploaded, and I really wanted to cover the New York Comic Con stuff when that news came out, but I was actually out of the city for some other family stuff, so I just wasn't able to make any videos nor stay on top of the news. So I apologize for that, but I will assure you all I will be making more videos about The Walking Dead going forward in a more constant pace. But yeah, other than that, let's get right into the video. And now, before I get into the theories, I wanted to make some things clear that these two new spin-offs aren't continuations of existing spin-offs such as Dead City Season 3, Daryl Dixon Season 4, or The Ones Who Live Season 2, right? These are two brand new spin-offs which are set in the Walking Dead universe. Now, first of all, I want to start off with the most obvious pick, which is a Commonwealth spin-off, and more specifically, a Gabriel spin-off, right? Some sort of Aaron and Gabriel spin-off, or just a spin-off set in the Commonwealth with every single character being in a main character sort of role. Something like a Walking Dead Season 12, but I want to get into that discussion later on. So if they focus on a spin-off for Aaron and Gabriel set in the Commonwealth, I think that that is a huge opportunity, because we don't know what happened to the Commonwealth after the events of Season 11, right? I mean, for all we know, it's a total mess, right? Maybe Ezekiel and Mercer aren't handling it too well, or Pamela Milton is planning to escape somehow, because again, like, her story isn't over, and speaking for the other characters, even their stories aren't over as well. So I think that a Commonwealth spin-off has a lot of potential, and also they did not take down the Commonwealth set yet, and it's still up, so they probably have some more stories to tell in the Commonwealth. And I think that that is perfect, because again, with Daryl and Carol gone, with all of these characters gone from the Commonwealth, I think that this would be the opportunity to give the other characters some screen time, right? Their moment to shine as fleshed out main characters. And the reason why I'm saying Aaron and Gabriel, that's solely because these two are the most popular characters other than, the main characters that appear in the spin-offs, such as Negan, Maggie, Daryl, Carol, and Rick and Michonne. I think that Gabriel and Aaron are in that sort of group of main characters that are popular, but yet again, they don't have their moment to shine, right? They're overshadowed by a lot of these other characters. And also, I'd put Ezekiel in that as well. I mean, if you make this an Ezekiel spin-off, right, his whole perspective of running the Commonwealth, I think that that would be a great story as well. And if Pamela Milton were to escape, and if she comes into contact with some other group, because the CRM is gone, so maybe she knows some other group, because Lance Hornsby did say that so alliances with the Commonwealth are going to come after them if he does die. And what if the CRM isn't the only alliance that is with the Commonwealth? Maybe there are other groups that are as big as the CRM that could also come after the Commonwealth with equal force. And timeline wise, it would make perfect sense, because right after Season 11, all of these characters left the Commonwealth, right? Negan, Maggie, Daryl, Carol, and of course Rick and Michonne weren't there for the whole Commonwealth arc. So it'd be perfect to explain during that time, what did the Commonwealth do, right? What did Ezekiel do to grow the Commonwealth and to make it better than what Pamela did? And I think that that would be insanely cool to see. But if they do fit this in somehow with The Ones Who Live, because Gabriel did show up in The Ones Who Live, and he was having secret meetings with Jadis. Maybe if this is a Gabriel story, we could follow his story of meeting up with Jadis and just giving more insight in that whole storyline, because I don't think that that is for nothing, right? I firmly believe that they didn't show that for no reason. I mean, other than the fact that, you know, Gabriel and Jadis were a thing, and Jadis did keep Gabriel's last name, so maybe that's the reason. But you know, if Gabriel finds out about some things about the Commonwealth, or if Rick and Michonne are in this spin-off as well, I think that would be very cool as well. And just Rick telling everybody about what he went through in the CRM, and, you know, him actually explaining more and more what the CRM were capable of and how close they were for a CRM invasion. Maybe Rick knows something that the group doesn't know. For example, the CRM are still up and running, and they could very well still come, which Rick trains everyone to prepare for a invasion of some sorts, maybe by the CRM, but I highly doubt that, because apparently the CRM has changed their ways. Or, you know, Rick just bestows some wisdom upon them and he trains them to become better soldiers, right? Maybe Rick is the general of the Commonwealth Army in that storyline. Who knows? And now the second possibility of a spin-off I want to talk about is a Morgan spin-off. And of course, as we all know, at the end of Morgan's story in Fear the Walking Dead in Season 8, Morgan did leave to go look for Rick Grimes. And the general theory here is that if The Ones Who Live has a Season 2, then it is a Morgan story, like how Daryl Dixon Season 2 is mostly a Carol story, right? It's called The Book of Carol, so of course The Ones Who Live Season 2 would probably be called The Book of Morgan. And that is a very good theory, and that does make a lot of sense. But what if Morgan gets a whole other spin-off on his own, and we just follow him and Mo looking for Rick Grimes, and maybe they do come across the Commonwealth and they meet all these old characters and they just see how they aged and how they expanded the Commonwealth, and Morgan sees that, oh yeah, okay, the Commonwealth is a community that is a lot more like the old world than Alexandria was, and maybe that might intrigue him. And of course you could have some Mo and Judith moments as well, and just Morgan talking to Ezekiel and reuniting with him and reuniting with all these characters. I think that that'd be amazing as well. But mostly the possibility of Rick Grimes probably showing up in that spin-off is even greater than the chances of Rick Grimes showing up in Daryl Dixon or Dead City. And I think that Morgan is a very deep character and a very underrated character. So, you know, like, just him having his own standalone spin-off makes a lot of sense, because of course he is part of that main cast, right? I mean, he was in the very first episode of The Walking Dead, and he's always had such a close relation to Rick Grimes, and he is very important to the story of The Walking Dead. So him not having his own spin-off is a huge missed opportunity. And, you know, with a Morgan spin-off, it is very possible that we might see Madison and Alicia as well, right? Maybe some Fear characters could show up, and that is one thing that a lot of people aren't talking about, is that these two spin-offs could also be spin-offs based off of Fear characters, right? And Morgan is technically a Fear character as well, so probably we could have a cameo from Madison and Alicia, right? Probably some other Fear characters, and, you know, really expand and flesh out this universe, because of course Morgan did cross over into Fear. That was their only way of basically crossing over these two series, right? I mean, of course, Dwight and Sherry, Morgan, and just, you know, very subtle hints to the mainline Walking Dead characters. But with the Morgan spinoff or some sort of other Fear character spinoff, you could have these characters interacting with mainline Walking Dead characters. Maybe Morgan bumps into Madison and Alicia and he explains his mission to go look for Rick Grimes, and that leads them to the Commonwealth. So we see Madison and Alicia in the Commonwealth interacting with Gabriel, Ezekiel, Aaron, Mercer, right, with all these other characters from the mainline Walking Dead show, and really expand this universe and make this feel like the Walking Dead universe, right? I mean, the CRM, Morgan, Dwight, and Sherry are the only ways to really connect these two series, but actually having these characters interact with each other in a big way is the way to do it, right? I mean, it seems like that they've been building up to that, but it's really not going anywhere. So yeah, another choice is a Morgan spinoff or some sort of other Fear character spinoff. And now the next possibility I want to talk about is quite a hype one, and Scott Gimple semi-confirmed this, and I think that this is what everybody wants, and that is a crossover spin-off. And on this channel I've talked about the possibility of a crossover spin-off quite a bit, right? It started off as a movie speculation. What if they make a Walking Dead movie and have all these characters come together? But a crossover spin-off is much more likely now. And I'm specifically talking about a crossover spin-off in a way where they fit in the Fear characters, the mainline Walking Dead characters, Rick, Michonne, Negan, Daryl, Maggie, and Carol, and have all of them come together to fight against a bigger threat. And of course that sounds very MCU-ish, right? You know, it's really Avengers type of stuff, but I think that this is the direction that they should go. And of course with these characters going in their own separate ways, and you know, like, they have to bring them back to the Commonwealth somehow. And with this being called the Walking Dead universe, I think that it is due for a crossover spin-off. And of course, Rick Grimes being gone for so long, we need a Rick and Daryl reunion, we need a Rick and Negan reunion, and we just need all of these moments for these characters. And like, when it comes to a bigger threat, with the CRM gone, I'm not sure what could this bigger threat be. Maybe they might show it in Daryl Dixon season 3, or Dead City season 2, or just some other spin-off, or maybe it's just walkers, right? It's just them going up against walkers, all back to basics. Maybe that is the bigger threat. But you know, like, I really hope for this crossover spin-off to happen, and I think that this is a few years away, right? And of course, what a lot of people are misunderstanding is that these spin-offs are going to be announced within the next year, and I think that that's highly unlikely. Maybe one of these spin-offs might be announced within a year, but when it comes to a crossover spin-off, I think that they're going to be announcing that when, you know, these spin-offs are going to get wrapped up, right? If The Ones Who Live has a season 2, they have to wrap that up. If they have to wrap up Daryl Dixon season 3, and Dead City season 3, if that has a season 3. So there is a long way to go when it comes to a crossover spin-off. But is it likely? Yes, it is very likely. And of course, a lot of fans want to see a movie, right? And I'm one of those fans, but it makes more sense for this to be a proper show on AMC Plus, and that's because they have much more leniency on AMC Plus, right? Their own platform. And also they could tell a much longer story, right? They could tell a more cohesive story, and they could also make multiple seasons of it. And also they could brand this as an unofficial Walking Dead season 12, right? Or if they just call it straight up Walking Dead season 12, and I think that would be very great for the marketing. It would have a lot of eyes on it, and a lot of people would watch it for sure. And that's because Rick Grimes, Daryl, and Negan are going to come together in one big spin-off, and I think that that is a huge moneymaker. But at the end of the day, that is the end game of this universe. So like I mentioned before, this thing is not going to be announced anytime soon, but it is going to happen. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. And I would like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.